So till now we have seen a forcing function which was either completely active or completely inactive, or we had an impulse type of force function. Now we have some different type of forcing function which is active for some time. We have some values of that forcing function, and then it is zero after that time. So how can we represent it mathematically is shown by these figures. So this can be represented by this, where we have a forcing function which is continuously available for time 0 to infinite, and the value is same as f0. And then we can subtract another forcing function which is starting at t0, and uh, the value is same as f0. Or the second option can be, we can use another forcing function which is like this, uh, sorry, which is like this, and the f0 is positive over here, time t is 0. So we can add a forcing function like this to the origin, this type forcing function, over where the f0 magnitude is minus f0. That is minus f0, and this is applied at time t is equal to t0. So we can do the both things which are same. They are exactly the same. They'll result into the same response. That's what I mean. So let's look at the response which I have got. So all other things are the same. It is step excitation, and in one of the function we have step excitation from time t is equal to 0. For another I have excitation from time t is equal to t0, and those two are subtracted. So I can directly do that numerically also. I have the first response which had no time delay, and there is a function for damping, and then the same thing with damping, and the only change is I have applied a time delay t is equal to t0, t minus t0 everywhere. So that's the only change. We can introduce phi, we cannot introduce phi, we can skip, that will not matter. We can adjust the values of phi and they can be taken care of. Let's look at another question. So for the same representation of the forcing function, we need to find a thing which is called as maximum dynamic amplification factor for t less than t0. So that amplification factor is defined as something like this: AF is equal to x of t upon f naught by k. So f naught by k, I said earlier, it is some type of displacement because it is force upon stiffness. And for simplest of the case where we have no time delay and when we have no type of damping, this was the expression for x of t. So amplification factor maximum will be 2 because cos omega nt can take a minimum value of -1. So we'll have the maximum value of 1 minus of -1, that is 2. And then when it says find the dynamic amplification for t is equal to t0, we need to do some type of maths and get the exact response where there are no unknown. So what can we do is we need to find the initial condition for the system at t is equal to t0. So we have the equation for x, we differentiate it to get the equation for velocity, that is x dot, and then we find then we substitute t is equal to t0 in our equations to get the response at t0. So we have got the displacement and velocity at t0 time. Notice that we have substituted f by k is equal to x as t, that is static or steady state response for x. So after t is equal to t0, the system has no external force. So this is for this forcing function. So after t0, there is no external force. So it is going to vibrate under whatever earlier force it has been applied to. So it will be free vibration with initial conditions as we have derived earlier. So these were the initial conditions. So this is the response for x when time is greater than t0. So we have added the response, and then we do some manipulations, mathematical manipulations. So whatever constant we have, we are taking it as a constant c1 and constant c2, and the other unknowns are only the time t, or the response is a function of time t. So we have made that manipulation, we have defined a new variable a, which is square root of c1 square plus c2 square, and the a is simplified to have this, that is x st into 2 into sine of omega and t0 by 2, and the another function. So we have converted. So we have two types of parameters in this c1 and c2. So we have the two parameters as x steady state and t0. We have converted this to two another parameters, two new parameters which are defined by us, which are c1 and c2. Then we have converted that c1 and c2 to another two parameters, that are a and phi. So now we have response in terms of a and phi and the function t. So now the amplification factor can again be written as x of t minus t0 upon x steady state or static at time t is equal to t0. That was the question. That was the second part. So we already have the response. A has the xt. So we divide that x divided by x static, and whatever is the remaining, we can substitute, and also substitute t is equal to t0 and get the answer for the amplification factor. So this can be a very good numerical to be asked in exam also. Next, we'll look at some another question also in the next video.